Alright, so in this video I want to talk about how to write covered calls with Questrade. So the first thing you need to do is own at least 100 shares of that stock. So as you can see here, on Thursday I bought 500 shares of Bombardier at $2. So that's at least 100 shares. And then to write covered calls against the shares that you own, you simply go to symbol lookup. You click option first over here. Then you go to symbol lookup. You look up the symbol that you want, Bombardier. It's going to give you the options below. Now there are several strategies. You can sell covered calls with expiry date of 1 month, or you can sell covered calls with expiry date of several months or even a year. It's really your choice. Theoretically, if you can sell every month, that would be the best, but sometimes it's hard to maintain because you won't necessarily find a good price to sell at every month. So I had sold the December 21st covered calls, so expiry date in about a month, and I chose strike price $2.50. And then you just click here and you click sell, and then you get the order entry window here. And since I have 500 shares and one option contract is 100 shares, so that means I would sell 5 option contracts because I have 500 shares and one option contract is 100 shares. Strike price $2.50, expiration date December 21st, 2018. So in about a month. Order type limit, and here I put the price I'd want to sell the option contract at, and then duration, and then I would click sell. I get this message here telling me that I'm creating a new short position, but I'm actually not, because I already own the shares. So I'll explain later what happens in several scenarios. So I'll just click yes here, and then this is the last step. Then I click send order if I want to send it. So I sold option contracts at 12 cents. So what that means is I collected 500 times 12 cents. I collected $60, which was deposited in my trading account, minus the fees. So the fees for trading options with Questrade is $10 per trade plus $1 per option contract. So because there's 5 option contracts, so it's $5 plus $10, so it's $15. So the fees in this case is $15. So I collected $45 after fees. And what that means, the consequence of that is I cannot sell the stock before December 21st. Whatever happens, I can't sell the stock before December 21st. So as you can see, the stock dropped. I bought it at $2. It dropped on Friday to 1.67. But remember, my strike price was $2.50. So what this strike price means is if the price of the stock surpasses $2.50 before the expiry date, before December 21st, what's going to happen is my shares are going to sell automatically, and I'm still going to keep the premiums that I sold. So the $45 that I collected are mine. In any scenario, the $45 I collected are mine. But if in the scenario where the stock price surpasses $2.50 before the expiry date, then my shares are going to sell automatically, and I will make a profit on the shares. So 50 cents, $2.50 minus $2 times 500 shares, so about $250. So $250 of profit, or 25% of profit on my shares, plus I would have collected the $45. So that's in the scenario where the stock price surpasses the strike price of $2.50 before the expiry date of December 21st. Now the other scenario where the stock price stays as is before the expiry date, or stays at $2 or does not reach $2.50. So I still keep the shares, I still keep my 500 shares, and I keep the $45 that I collected. And what happens in that case is I can keep repeating that process. Ideally, that's what you want to do. So if I keep repeating the process, I just made $45 in 1 month on a $1,000 investment. So 45 divided by 1,000, just to see the return or the percentage I'd be getting, is 4.5%. So I just made 4.5% in 1 month. And if I do it for 12 months, that's about 54% return if I keep doing that for 12 months. But obviously in practice, it's going to be hard to replicate every month, because just as you can see right now, the stock price dropped at 1.67. So when I wrote the covered calls and sold them at 12 cents, the stock was trading at $2. Right now the stock is trading at $1.67, so they are worth 4 cents. So I won't be able to sell it again next month because it's only 4 cents. And because I don't have that many shares, it gets eaten up by the fees. So $20 minus $15 of fees is $5. So I would have to look at a different strike price. So if the stock is trading, but I wouldn't accept the strike price lower than what I bought it at, because in case the stock reaches that strike price before expiry date, my shares are going to sell automatically. So I don't want to sell my shares at a loss. So I'm always going to pick a strike price that's higher than my purchase price. So the $2.50 strike price needs to be higher than my purchase price of $2, just in case the stock price actually reaches the strike price before expiry date, so that when they sell automatically, I sell at a profit and not at a loss. So in the case it reaches, so next month, let's say December 21st, the stock is still trading at $1.67. What would I do in that case? Well, I'd go back to options here, look at Bombardier, and then see so December 21st won't exist anymore. I'll probably have January 18. So I'll look at January 18, and then I'll probably look at $2.25, which is right now it's worth 15 cents. But come December 21st, this will not be 15 cents anymore. It'll be less if the stock is trading at $1.67, of course. So obviously I don't know the prices of these come December 21st because it depends on the stock price. But that's the idea, is it's just to keep selling every month calls, making sure that you choose a strike price that in case the price reaches the strike price, you're okay with having your shares being sold automatically. Now I sold this one at 12 cents, but I could have taken an option that expires in a year. So I could have taken like January 17th, 2020, and chosen a strike price of $2.50, and it was probably trading at around 50 cents, this one here, and I could have sold it at 50 cents. So I would have made $250 minus $15 of fees. I would have made $235. So I would have collected right now $235. But the only issue with that is, so I would have made 23% right away. The only issue with that is that I have to keep the stock for a whole year. I cannot do anything to it for a whole year. And whenever the stock reaches $2.50 between now and January 2020, it'll sell automatically. So I would have made my 23% from my options, and I would have made 25% from selling the shares automatically if it reaches $2.50 before January 17, 2020. If it doesn't reach $2.50 on January 17, 2020, well then I will still have collected the $235 from selling the options. I still own the shares. I can see what I want to do then, either repeat the process or sell it at whatever price it's trading at. But with this scenario, I'd be making 23% plus 25%. But in the other scenario, if I repeat the process every month, I could be making 54% from selling the options plus 25% from selling the stock. So it's not guaranteed, and that's why the potential is higher. Although if I sold the 1 year option, I would have guaranteed myself a 23%. Regardless of what happens to the stock, I would have guaranteed myself a 23%. And then if I'm confident the stock is not going to zero, well, whatever happens to it, for a whole year, I've already collected 23%. If it reaches 250, then I just sold at 25%. If it reaches 250 before the expiry date, which, for example, if it reaches 250 in 6 months, then I just made 25% in 6 months, plus the 23%. So that was another option. I could have just sold the 1 year expiry instead of the 1 month expiry. So there's different strategies. I don't like being stuck for a whole year, so I went for the 1 month option, and I like the fact that you can collect 4% every month. So I did the same thing with GE. So I bought 100 shares of GE at 7.85. I sold the call option at 27 cents. So I collected $27. So I collected 27 times 100 shares minus the fees of $11. So I collected $16 after fees. So as you can see, if you don't have a lot of shares, it gets eaten up by the fees. But obviously for people that buy 1,000 shares or even more, it's really a great strategy because you collect a decent amount of premiums. So for sure, Berkshire Hathaway or Warren Buffett, with all the stocks he owns, sometimes, like for example, Coca-Cola hasn't been moving for the past 2 years or even 3 years. It's been trading in the 40s for 3 years. And Warren Buffett is not someone who's going to be happy with a 4% dividend per year. So for sure, they're selling covered calls on their holdings, and they've got like millions of shares. Now you won't necessarily be able to sell covered calls on all your shares because there's not enough people buying all these options, but you can still sell on the majority and collect premiums on all these shares, and that's how you can make high returns on stocks that you own that don't move much. So it's like a dividend. You could see it as a dividend. About 100 shares of G at 7.85, and then I sold the option at 27 cents. So after fees, it gives me $16 that I collected. So $16 divided by a $785 investment. So that's 2%, and I picked an expiry date of December 28th. So about a month as well. So let's say times 12. So that gives me a 24% return every month if I keep doing this process. So to write the covered calls, first you have to buy 100 shares of the company. That's the first step. Once you do that, then you go to symbol lookup here. You click on option. You look up the stock that you want. You get the options here, and then you pick the expiry date that you want. So I picked December 28th, 2018, and then you pick the strike price that you would be comfortable at if the shares were to sell automatically. So because I bought it at $7.50, I'd be comfortable at selling at $9 automatically. So I sold these ones here. I sold it at 27 cents, and then it actually went up. So I could have sold it at more, but I sold it at 27 cents. So that means that by December 28th, 2018, I cannot do anything with my shares. If GE reaches $9 before the expiry date of December 28, 2018, my shares will sell automatically at $9. But I'm okay with that because I bought it at 7.85. So I'm going to make like 15% or more. Plus, I collected the premiums, although small, but I still collected 2%. If it doesn't reach $9, I can repeat the process. I own the shares, I can repeat the process and make another 2%. So if you want to write the cover call, you simply just click on this, click sell. The order entry here updates. You pick the number of option contracts you have. So if you have 100 shares, that's 1 option contract. If you have 500 shares, that's 5 option contracts. So here I'm going to leave 1. You confirm your strike price, your expiration date. So because you clicked on the right strike price and the call option, it updates automatically and you're under the right expiry date. But you can always just confirm. You order type limit, and here you put the price at which you want to sell the option at, and then so let's say whatever here, and you click sell, and then you're going to get this message. You just click yes, and then this is the last step. Once you click this, it's over. So you click send order once you confirm the information here. So like Bombardier, I could have sold the 1 year option instead of the, so if I would have sold it, if I would have taken the 1 year option, the 1 year expiry, January 17, 2020, see, they don't have a strike price of 9. So I would have had to sell it at a strike price of 10. So which is obviously a good return. I would have sold it at $1.17. So I would have made 1.17 times 100 minus the fees of $11. So I would have made $106, but I would have to hold the stock for a whole year. If it reaches 9, for example, I wouldn't be able to sell. I'd have to wait until January 17, 2020 But if the stock does reach $10 before the expiry date, then it's going to sell automatically. If not, if it doesn't, then after 1 year, I'm still going to hold the shares, and I would have collected $106, which is about, I believe I had an $785 investment, so that's about a 13% return in 1 year, plus I'll still own the shares. So as you can see, both strategies are possible. Because I just started it, I went with the 1 month strategy just to give it a try, see which one works best for me. We'll see what happens after a month if I can repeat the process. If I can repeat the process, then great. If not, I might go for the 1 year option, just because I don't have enough shares, so my premiums get eaten up by the fees. So let's look at another example. I bought 338 shares of Groupon at $2.90. So that means I have at least 100 shares, but I only have 300 shares that I can play with, because an option contract is 100 shares. So there's 38 shares that I can't really do anything with. So I sold 300 contracts. Sorry, I sold 3 option contracts, which is 300 shares at 12 cents. So 0.12 times 300 is 36 minus $13 of fees. I'm left with $23. So I collected $23 on a $980 investment. So I collected 2.3% but this time I chose an expiry date of January 2019, January 18, 20. So about 2 months. So this one is not every month, it's gonna be every 2 months. So I'd get about 14% in a year if I repeat the process. But I chose a strike price of $3.50, as you can see here, which is the price I'm willing to sell at if it reaches before January 18, 2019. So that's how you write covered calls with Questrade, and that's how they work. That's what makes this strategy very beautiful, is that you can keep collecting money on your shares that you're holding until you sell. All right, so if you have any questions, leave in the comments below. Like always, if you're going to open an account with Questrade, use my referral code in the description below the video, so you can get between $25 and $250, depending on how much you deposit. If you're an active trader, I also have a link that you can use that will get you $50 in free trades. Thanks for watching.